Have you ever wondered why type 2 diabetics just have a hard time losing weight? I mean, this is what every diabetic is told, right? Go and make sure you take your medication, make sure you lose some weight, maybe exercise, change your diet. Yet when you try those things, you still struggle. It's still hard to do. You're not really getting great results, right? Especially for the amount of effort you're putting in. You're trying to put a lot of effort in. It's just not really going anywhere. I'm going to show you exactly why that happens. There are actually real reasons why you're having a hard time losing weight, and many type 2 diabetics have a hard time losing weight. And if you understand this, it makes things go a lot easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you why type 2 diabetics struggle with weight and also what to do about it. There's a couple of key things that if you do this, you will probably see, like thousands of my patients, phenomenal results. All right, so let's jump right in. So what we're going to go over is why type 2 diabetics struggle with weight. All right, the first thing is, well, what is weight gain? Well, actually, it's actually a little secret, right? Weight gain is actually a symptom. So when you look at as a diabetic, well, what is having too much weight? It's a symptom that something is wrong in the body. Just like sugar, if sugar is high and you have blood sugar levels high, well, then guess what? That means that there's something wrong. The metabolism is broken. The body is telling you, hey, wait a second, you need to change your diet, or you need to be really figuring out why you're gaining the weight. So let's keep looking here. So we're some, interesting creatures for sure. Let's look at it this way. What animals naturally are overweight, right? So if we look here at a hippo typically is just an animal that tends to have a lot of extra weight. You don't usually see thin hippos, right? Like in nature. In the same way, when we actually feed an animal, it usually winds up becoming overweight. So when we look at like how nature is and how we're designed to be, we notice that like anytime we feed ourselves or we feed the animal, they get overweight. So we look down here at this dog, the dog is overweight. Why? Because a human was involved. Because we have given them our junk food, or we've given them our food, and thus they are now overweight. So when it comes to looking at nature, naturally, we should just be in really good shape, right? We should naturally not be overweight. Okay, so let's look at another example here. All right, we look at these two cats. Well, one cat is in the wild, right? And even when it's at a zoo, it's actually, if you go to a zoo, they usually feed the animals the way they would have it indigenous to where they live, right? They're not going to give it junk food per se. So anyway, we look at this cat is in good shape, able to survive. We look at this cat, pretty happy, but nevertheless overweight. And do you know why they're overweight? A human was involved. The human started feeding this cat, and thus it's overweight. So anyway, let's keep going here. So what really could be at the root of it? So I mentioned to you a moment ago that, well, weight and blood sugar levels are definitely symptoms. Yeah, but what's at the core of it, right? Like what does this even mean, right? So we look at a bigger picture, and we look at all of these things that could be a factor. All right, so let's look here, right? We look at the fact that a person could have sugar, they could struggle with weight, they could also have low energy. Well, that's the top of the iceberg, right? The top of the iceberg is kind of what you're aware of. You're aware that you have some weight struggles. You're aware that, your sugar is an issue. Maybe your energy is not where it should be. And the way our world works is that everybody's kind of going after the symptoms, right? They're going after the top of the iceberg. And let me try to lower my blood sugar by doing this. Let me try to lose weight by going to the gym and doing these things. But what I've found doing functional medicine for over 20 years is there's something underneath it. There's something underneath it driving this weight issue. Now, we could sit here and say it's diet, but think about this. Do we all know someone who's overweight, but they eat good? Yes. Do we also all know somebody who's really thin and they eat like junk? I was going to use a different word, but you get my point, right? They eat really bad. They eat the foods that you would say, well, you should never eat that. And the difference is it's not really the food, it's the person's body's ability to handle the food. So we look at many things, right? One is we look at the adrenal glands. These are small glands that sit above the kidneys, and they are known to handle and help with stress. Now, I think we all agree this is a very stressful world we live in, between crazy news and life and bills and everything else. And that makes a hormone go up called cortisol. And cortisol stops the body's ability to lose weight. we also look at the liver. Now, as many patients as I've seen, which is over 10,000 patients, I've never seen a proper functioning liver in a person who struggled with weight. It almost is like the quarterback of the whole entire metabolism. So when you start seeing the liver go bad, you almost know that this person is going to start struggling as they get older with weight and other problems. And that's a really important thing to recognize. And a lot of times, even by just getting the liver really functioning well and getting the liver kind of cleansed out, it makes a world of difference on jump-starting the metabolism, getting the metabolism going and getting the body healing. The next thing we look at is inflammation. So inflammation is kind of like these fires in the body. And whenever there is a fire within the body, what happens is it creates a reaction. That reaction causes bad health, causes the body not to work as well, causes things to not be in balance. And we are riddled with inflammation around us. One is because we live in a very toxic world, right? We live in a world where there's a lot of toxins, right? And our clothes, our drinking supply is not the same drinking supply was 100 years ago, right? We have a lot of chemicals in there, air pollution, we have, microwaves, we have cell signals everywhere. All of these things put a stress on our body. It's not the same body environment that humans had to live in 200 years ago. It's a different type of environment. And what that also does, it creates thyroid issues, which puts the thyroid out of balance. It creates hormone imbalances, right? Men and women more prevalent, obviously, but it puts hormone imbalances. And then also it creates dysbiosis. The gut starts going kind of crazy. Now, when you add a bad diet to this, it just puts everything more out of balance. But the question is, well, if this is really what could be the main reasons behind it, so it opens up an area for a solution. It gives you an idea that maybe there's something that could be done about this that actually allows your body to start healing and actually doing well. So let me clear this away and let me kind of show you what the next step would be. So the solution is really simple, right? You're looking to say, well, I want to handle weight, so what do I need to do? So essentially what you need to do is exactly this. The first thing is get rid of the toxins, right? You can't go there and try to get your body better, but your body is still sitting there with tons of toxins. Now, of course, you could probably get an air cleaner for the air, and you can definitely get better quality water. Those are easy. But now what about the toxins that are in your body or the ones you're consuming by eating a bad diet? Well, those you want to get rid of. So if you're sitting there eating foods that could be actually full of chemicals and artificial colors and flavors and things of that nature, not a good start, okay? But anyway, you want to eliminate those toxins, okay? That's step number one. Step number two is you've got to get the liver functioning well. By getting the liver functioning well, you're going to open up the opportunity to actually get rid of hormones and even balance out your thyroid. Because guess what? Your hormones and also your thyroid, they're directly connected with the function of your liver. So if your liver is not great, it's going to create a lot of other problems. With that being said, you also have to make sure that you are handling the inflammation. Get that inflammation down, and that gives you ability to actually lose weight. Believe it or not, when your body's majorly inflamed, it's almost impossible to lose weight. It's almost impossible to get your metabolism working because your body is so busy trying to handle the inflammation, it really has no time to speed up the metabolism, right? So it can't do both things at once, especially if there's a lot of that inflammation in one area. Also, you want to make sure your body is handling stress. Cortisol, which is a stress hormone, you need that out of the picture. So if cortisol is being addressed and back to balance, then there's actually hope, right? It's actually a really good thing. And then lastly, dysbiosis, getting the gut handled. So, well, how do you handle the sugar and get rid of the weight and get rid of the low energy? By getting all of this fixed. And when that gets fixed on the bottom, there is actually hope. So let me show you actually the steps that patients in my office take that do really well. Okay, so here's the plan of attack. The first thing, you want to address the inflammation. And what I recommend is doing the 21-day So here is the plan of attack. So here we go. So the first thing you want to do is you want to address the inflammation. So if you address the inflammation, that's going to start working on getting the body having the ability to actually focus on the metabolism. And patients in my office, they do the metabolic reboot. Now, the metabolic reboot's really good because not only does it handle the inflammation, but it actually works on handling the liver. The way I always like thinking about this, right? So every day in my life, right? Sometimes even twice a day, I take a shower. I clean the outside of my body, make sure I'm obviously clean. But how often does anybody clean the inside of their body, right? They're getting the cells, every one of the cells actually healing correctly. And that's why every year I do the metabolic reboot. Last year I did it 2 times in a row where I literally did it back to back because I just felt so darn good on it to get my liver functioning and my cystic duct and gallbladder and getting that inflammation down. I mean, it was like, it was, I didn't want to stop. I had to stop, but I didn't want to stop. And that's a 21-day process. While you're there, you're also stabilizing your diet for 21 days. So you can't go and try to get things back to balance and your diet is like all over the place. You'll fail, right? And no one wants to fail. So that 21-day diet really, really makes a lot of sense. Now, with the 21-day diet, yeah, it's more restrictive, right? There's certain foods you can't eat and there's foods you can't eat. It's not hard to do. But believe it or not, a lot of times your cravings will go away in most cases, and you won't even be craving food, but you still have to eat. But after that 21 days, you don't want to live on this food forever. You want your diet to open up. So there is a process where you reintroduce foods, and that's what I call the key 5. There are 5 foods you want to reintroduce back into your diet. And when you do that, your body is going to be able to see if you're reacting to those foods. So it's pretty interesting. I'll give you an example. One of the foods is actually eggs. Now, some people react to eggs. That means that when they start eating eggs, their blood sugar level goes up or their weight goes the wrong direction. So you can't really test those foods unless your body is stable first. It's kind of like, trying to, stabilize yourself while you're all shaking around. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's why you want to do it after the 21 days. You want to continue to snack to keep your metabolism working. So you don't want to get your metabolism working and starting to lose weight and feeling good. And then all of a sudden, it kind of just gets jammed up again, kind of like an old lawnmower in a garage. You want to snack in order to keep that metabolism going so your body can keep healing and doing the things it needs to do. The next step you want to do is you want to handle the cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. So yes, you're trying to get all these things going. You have the metabolic reboot. You're trying to stabilize your diet. You're trying to reintroduce foods. You're getting the metabolism moving. But if stress hormone comes in, it kind of makes everything stop. You don't want to do that because you don't want to lose all the gains you've made. So you want to handle that stress hormone. And really the best way to do that is with supplements, right? That's the way I do it, right? I have a very, very busy life, right? I have a busy practice and kids and dogs and wife and everybody's busy. So cortisol levels tend to go up, right? It's just the nature of how it goes. So I want to make sure I handle that. And it's not hard. You just literally take a supplement and that actually does it. And then the last thing and the last step, now at this point, your metabolism is probably really moving good. I like just making sure the gut is handled at that point. And the reason for that is I want to see long-term weight loss. I want to see long-term improvement in health. I don't want to just do a quick couple week thing and then fall back, right? That's where most people wind up failing. They do these radical, crazy diets. They don't eat anything or they juice or they whatever. And it doesn't fix anything. And then they wind up gaining all the weight back. And who wants to do that? So anyway, I like handling the gut. The gut's the largest part of our immune system. The gut is really important for making sure things stabilize. But you want to fix it and then repair it. All right. So really, really important. So if you're doing these 6 steps, you're going to see a radical improvement because you're actually getting to the root things that I just discussed, right? You're not just going there and kind of glossing over, trying to treat the symptoms. You're really getting down to the root problems there. Okay. So I know what many of you are asking or going to ask is, well, where do I start? So if you're interested in anything I just went over, if you're interested in going on this plan that I'm mentioning, what I'd like you to do is just email me the word START. From there, my team will take over and they will put you on a list of people that are doing it. Now, we don't take a lot of cases every month, right? Because there's only so many we can manage. But if you're interested, you'll go on that list. Just email me the word START, okay? And then you will be taken through a sequence of how to enroll. If there's a spot available, great. Sometimes there are coupons and discounts as well. So great. I don't know when you're watching this video, but it's really good that you're actually taking the first steps. Okay, so if you have any questions and you want to get started, you're going to actually email support@drjspages.com. So once again, that's support@drjspages.com. you're going to email the word START, and that's going to get you on your journey to getting your metabolism finally working correctly. All right. So anyway, I hope you got a lot out of this. And I really hope you get on your journey of getting better. But if you follow those 6 steps, they're going to definitely lead you in a good direction. All right. Anyway, hope you have a good rest of your day. And thank you very much for watching. All right. Take care.